Freaky fun for everyone. Sold
Leonardo, the katana blade. My God.
Attack the evil Inhumanoid, forcing him back into the earth.
Hey, the name's Boglins. You sold separately.
In battle, our human is going to each sold separately. You put them out together.
Turn them into the light, and they change into even more powerful.
Battle against Lion-O and the new Thundercat ally.
Alright, I admit that intro was kind of long. Maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't, maybe you thought, wow, that was way too long, but I thought I'd throw in some of that new toy smell intro on there because I found a really good version of that. It was a 1280 by 1080? No, anyway, I don't remember. Anyway, found a large AVI file on an old hard drive, and I thought I'd throw it in the mix because it looked nice and crisp and clear. Hey jerks, welcome back to the show. Whether you like it or not, we're here. We're doing another episode. I am Dirt, and we're talking about that new toy smell. And you can see here, I dusted off my wife's old Windows XP computer that was actually sitting on a shelf down here for like 4 years, completely untouched. It got mad because I haven't done a virus scan in like 4 years, and it kept freaking out, so I told it to go ahead. But I hooked up some of the old hard drives in here, and I've been trying to pull off some of the information from it, trying to see what I can get. I haven't been able to find a whole lot of full episode footage. So again, shout out to anybody out there. If you ever downloaded any old That New Toy Smell episodes and you have them on a hard drive or you burned them to a disc, if you were selling bootleg Korean DVDs on the street or something, and you've got any of these files laying around, let me know, because I'd like to reassemble as much of this as I can. Today we're going to be looking at episode 8, and I actually had 2 sections on episode 8, and I can only find one. So the part 1, I did a thing about the Infinite Heroes line from Mattel. I love that action figure line, still have them, still love them. And then part 2 was the grand opening featuring Captain Power, and we actually had bought some in the box Captain Power toys, hadn't been opened for 30 some odd years, whatever, and we ripped them open right in the show. And it was one of my favorite bits, actually, because Scotty was like, hey, we're going to rip these open, right? And I was like, no, these things are mint. These things have never been opened. These are 30 years old. And he just rips the box right open, just like legit rips, tears. And I just start screaming as loud as I possibly can, what are you doing? That's the one I can't find. I cannot find that. I have no idea what happened to that. So if you have that, if you happen to see that on someone else's channel, like maybe someone has been, stealing our videos, I don't know, and they uploaded them to the channel, and you see them there somewhere, download them, report them for stealing. Download everything you can from them, report them for stealing them, and then send them to me. Or send me the links so I can get that. I want to reassemble as much of these as I can. And it's driving me nuts that some of these that are missing are actually mine that I should have backed up, and I don't. Well, I say I should have backed up, and I don't. I might still have backed up. I started going through a bunch of old DVDs and stuff. I've got tons of these things sitting around. The problem is DVDs do, especially these burned ones, they degrade over the years. So it's hard to read some of the files off of them after a while. You put them in, and they'll sit in the drive, and they'll read, and they'll read, and they'll read, and they'll read. The microaggression footage from that grand opening from episode 1, I found the disc for that. It's 4 gigs of raw camera footage of us standing there just ripping open the microaggression toys. just because that's the way the camera recorded was in. It was like a TOD type video format, which I don't even know what TOD video format was, but it was nice. It was high quality. But you know, for 10 minutes of footage, it's huge on these discs, and these don't hold up well over time, like we used to think they would. So, kind of a shame. But anyway, so that was part 2 that's missing, and then part 3 is Devall did one on the Tonner DC Stars. If you remember back when I did the first part of this look back at that new toy smell, I played a clip of Scotty doing an outtake. He couldn't remember the name Tonner, and he was saying Tanner. We were making fun of Devall and his dolls, whatever. There's a little bit of a hiss, like a high-pitched, like mechanical screech in the background, because I guess we didn't have the microphone plugged all the way into the camera. Like you plug it in, it feels like it's all the way in there, but then you have to give it like an extra little click to get it all the way in there. If it's not all the way in there, you get this hum, the squeal. I don't know what it is. It's some sort of feedback. So I'm going to do my best to try to filter that out. I'm going to run it through Audacity, run some filters on it, and try to take that high pitch. But I don't know how much I can actually pull out of that. So just to warn you, when we get to that, I mean, that's the way it was when it was broadcast, but I'll try to, fix it as best I can. Oh, and then one more thing before we get started. I mentioned that we all of us at that new toy smell, the 4 of us, myself, Danny, Devall, and Scotty, we all met through professional wrestling. And some of you guys were, what? Professional wrestling? What are you talking about? So I actually found, going through some of this old stuff, I found some old photos, so I thought I might. These are just biopics. These are not from shows or anything. These are just some backstage things. First of all, this is the logo of the company that we all met, New Midwest Wrestling. They were not only a promotion, but they were also a training school. So there were a lot of guys who had gone out, gotten trained other places, and then came back here to our town and were training other guys. So here's Devall. Devall was a British golfer. That was his gimmick. He had an accent and everything, and he was known as Bing Westlake III. Actually, technically, it was Bing Francis Alexa Westlake III, I believe, was the full name. Everybody called him Bing. And yeah, went out with a golf club, and for a while he had a caddy. Actually, he had 2 caddies, because the first caddy turned on him, he got a second caddy, and then the second caddy turned on him to form a tag team with Danny, no less. And this was Dan. Dan was a masked wrestler known as El Diablo Silverado. That was the gimmick he had when I first met him. I think he was in some backyard wrestling group and had some other gimmick before that, but this was when he made his professional debut. Here's me, the Professor Philip H. Dempsey, with my pipe and my jacket that's too small and the belt that's too tight, pushing my belly out. It was... oh my gosh. The things you agree to do. Oh, and the Harry Potter glasses. Those are actually Harry Potter Halloween glasses that I'm wearing as part of the gimmick. I always thought that was fun. And Scotty Cash, Scotty Cash is his wrestling name. I mean, everybody knows him as Scotty Cash. His real name is Scott Clark, but everybody knows him as Scotty Cash. Everybody calls him Scotty Cash. We see him in real life, and it's like, oh, hey, Scotty Cash. I called Scotty Cash last night. So actually Bing, everybody called him Bing, and he was always Bing. Even later on, he dropped the British gimmick. He turned face, whatever, and he was just Jason Devall. He was president of the company for a short time before I got him fired and took over. But everybody called him Bing. Everybody called him LD for El Diablo. And eventually he took off the mask and became Spencer Powers, the Spotlight, but El Diablo, that was great. Everybody called me the Professor, or PhD. People still do, as a matter of fact. Freaks out my wife sometimes, because we'll be out in public and like going through the drive-thru at Dairy Queen. Oh, it's the Professor! And it's like, wow, I haven't done a show in years, and I'm still the Professor. And then Scotty Cash, like I said, he is still Scotty Cash. People see him on the street. We talk to him. We when we refer to him, we call him Scotty Cash. So he will always be Scotty Cash. So there's some backstage stuff from the wrestling. We all got to know each other. But anyway, I'm going to keep digging through. But if you guys have any of this missing footage, I would love to get it back so we could reassemble some of these as full episodes. That'd be great. Next, we're going to be looking at episode 8. Next is episode 9 with the Star Trek stuff. And I think we have all of those clips. And then episode 10, Bucky O'Hare, Brave Star, and the Toyman Show. I don't know if we have the Brave Star one, but I think we've got the other two. And then 11, 12. So we'll have some. We're getting close to where we might get some full episodes. In about 3 or 4 episodes, we'll have complete ones. But a lot of these early ones are missing pieces. So like I said, if you guys have ever downloaded any of these, or you know somebody who just was the type of person that would always download the video and save them to an old hard drive or burn them to a disc and maybe has them in one of those old, binders. People always used to have those binders full of DVDs and CDs sitting around. If you know anybody that might have those sitting like in a closet, maybe they're at your parents' house, like in the closet in your bedroom, back there or something, then please go take a look. Let me know, because again, I would love to reassemble some of these old shows. But until that time, let's take a look at what remains of That New Toy Smell, Episode 8.
Hey everybody, welcome to That New Toy Smell. We're here for episode 8, and actually this month our good buddy Pixel Dan is getting married. And so we took Devall and we tied him up and we threw him in a closet somewhere. And so maybe he'll get out of the closet in time for episode 3, part 3 of this episode. But right now we're looking at part 1 of episode 8, which is going to be my look at my collection of DC Infinite Heroes toys. So if you're not familiar with the Infinite Heroes, we did our first grand opening, was looking at some of these. And you can see these that we have on sale here at Killing Enterprises. Check out the website, killingenterprises.com. But you can buy this one that I'm holding in my hand right now. And if you ask, we'll sign it. We'll autograph it and ship it to you.
Are we going to get anything extra out of that?
No.
Fine.
But anyway, here's my look at my collection of DC Universe Infinite Heroes figures.
Let's take a look.
Now, Mattel had been going strong with the Justice League Unlimited line, and then they came out with the DC Universe Classics, and that made everybody pay attention. It's basically their answer to the Marvel Legends line. Now, the DC Universe Classics are still going strong. Justice League Unlimited became a Target exclusive. But for me, those two toy lines pale in comparison to the Infinite Heroes. We covered Infinite Heroes in part 3 of episode 1 here on That New Toy Smell, and for some reason ever since then, I've just been hooked. There's something about the 3 3/4 inch line that just grabs my imagination and just won't let go. So I've gotten some review samples, I've gotten a bunch of gifts over Christmas and whatnot, but I've just made it my goal to collect a bunch of these. And I've gotten about 85 of these figures now. Granted, I've got a bunch of duplicates, there's a lot of paint variants and things like that, but still, 85 is a pretty big number to have for a line that's been out for about a year. But I think we're going to take some time here today to look at some of the different ones, some of the unusual and creative ones in the line, and see if you like them too. These are my army builder, the Quardian Warriors. I've got 10 of them now. I use them for the comic strip I do at superherotimes.com. I just love those little sea monkeys. And here's the Atom. It's the exact same figure with two different paint variations. On the left is the original Atom, Ray Palmer. On the right, Ryan Choi. You've got two different characters who played the Atom, so they made two different figures because the costume was different. Take a look at the Thangarian Warriors. The exact same figure with different paint. The one on the right is the one you got in the 3-pack with Hawkman. The one on the left, the one if you buy them individually. Once again, there's some differences in the arms, the kneecaps, and whatever, but it's the exact same figure. Now this one's a rather dubious part of the collection, so take a good look and tell me what you think. The Green Arrows here are different. The one on the left is the one that came in the 3-pack, with Green Lantern and Black Canary. The one on the right is the one that comes individually on the blister card. Now, can you spot the difference between the two? It's not that the bow is in a different hand. You can put the bow in whichever hand you want. But can you spot the other difference? The one that's the subtle difference between the two? Take a good look. It's the belt buckle. That's right, the one in the 3-pack had a gold belt buckle, the individual one, a brown belt buckle. You can see a little green from the tunic that has overlapped onto the brown, but really, that's the difference between the two figures. Is it a production error that just didn't get the gold paint, or is it an actual variant? I don't know, but it counts as a different figure in my collection. Now check out Flash and Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash was always supposed to be the evil mirror image of Flash, so he always just had the reverse paint scheme. So it was pretty easy for them to just take the same Flash, give it a new paint job, and there you've got the Professor Zoom Reverse Flash. So it was kind of the easy way out to make a variant, but you got to hand it to him for this one, the Jay Garrick Flash. Now Flash, when he came in the 3-pack with Mirror Master and Weather Wizard, just had your original Flash in it. But when they came out with the revision wave that had the new 3-pack in it, they put in a whole new sculpt to this Jay Garrick Flash. This is a completely different figure. So it's really kind of an awesome thing that they do to toss that in there. They did the same thing again with the revision 3-pack of Superman, Wonder Girl, and Supergirl. They threw in a Bizarro this time. Instead of another Superman or a different Superman sculpt, you got a completely new figure of this Superman villain. And speaking of Superman, you got 3 of those in here as well. You've got the original Superman from the 3-pack, you've got Superman the way he looks on the card, and then you've got the Superman from the Battle of Metropolis 8-pack. So that Superman is actually the Kingdom Come Superman for collectors who are really into that story. So right now you got 3 different Supermen on the market to choose from. And then of course you can choose which Superman goes with which of your 3 Batmen. You had 2 modern version Batmen, one with a black cowl, one with a dark blue cowl, and then you got the classic blue and gray Batman with the large yellow oval on the bat. So depending on which Batman you like, you got one of those you can choose from. One of the things I really like about this line is that more obscure characters get their time in the sun. And Superman and Batman are not the only ones that get the 3-figure treatment. Take the Question. He's not as well known a character in DC Comics mythos by any means. But still, you got 3 versions of him out there. You've got 2 versions of the classic Question. White shirt, red tie, orange shirt, yellow tie. But then you've got the modern Vic Sage Question in there as well with the long trench coat. Now, I'm not sure exactly the distribution on these, if these are all variants of the same character, or which revisions or waves they came out in. But to me, it's just awesome the fact that they're going to recognize a character as obscure as the Question and give him 3 whole figures. Now, there are plenty other paint variants and sculpt variants we could talk about. We could talk about some of the different pack-ins from the 8-packs and the 6-packs and the 3-packs and the stuff they're coming up with on MattyCollector.com, online, and all that other kind of stuff. But we just really don't have the time to talk about everything. In fact, I got a bunch of prototypes and unpainted figures I wanted to get into, and we don't have time for that either. But for a line expanding as quickly as the Infinite Heroes line is, I'm sure we're going to be able to revisit this at some point in the near future and talk about a whole lot more of these figures. So I want to thank you for watching, and, well, you know what? Before we go, I think we do need one little public service announcement.
Alright, now let's talk about storage for a minute. Now, some of you, of course, are going to want to store all your figures on a shelf and display them. And if you're going to do that, that's great. But if you're like me, you've got just too many figures. That's not really an option. So you need some way to store them and put them away and be able to get them back out pretty quickly and easily. So we've got 2 options. First of all, Rubbermaid storage cases. You can get these at Walmart for $5. This is the 151200. These things are fantastic. I use these on all my 3 3/4 inch figures I'm stowing away. Basically, you have these little dividers that you can pop apart and put in here, in order to make space for your 3 3/4 inch figures. And then of course you can just stack them. So you can see that with a box full of figures it works really well. Holds them all tight. You can even put 2 figures in there if you need to in order to, you know, if you've got just way too many of them, you can't display them all. But it holds them, and it's going to keep them dry. It's going to keep them away from bugs. It's going to keep them from rubbing paint on each other. These are fantastic, and like I said, I use these on all my 3 3/4 inch figures, except a few, because there's always going to be some that don't fit the regular size. The Battle for Metropolis Lex Luthor with his big armor, Hawkman with his big wings. So for those, I use the Pro Latch Stowaway from Plano. Now this is very similar in design to the ones from Rubbermaid. The main difference is, on your first set of bays here, there's no divider in the middle, so you can make them double wide. They actually have these double wide dividers that you can slide into place in order to put your bigger figures in. Now, of course, we also have my little box of stands here from MattyCollector.com. 40 stands come in the box. It's a great investment if you're going to be displaying them, especially since the early figures didn't come with display stands. So this is a great little thing too. But between this box and the Rubbermaid boxes, you can store all the figures you want. You stack them up, you can get them out of the way, it keeps them safe. It's really a great investment. Alright, we're back here for part 3 of episode 8 of That New Toy Smell here at thatnewtoysmell.com. And of course I'm Dirt, and this is
Johnny Cash.
And this week, we hope that Devall has come out of the closet that we had him tied up and locked in earlier. He's going to be talking about the DC Stars line from Tonner Dolls.
Cool dolls.
Cool dolls.
Cool dolls.
These are collector's dolls, 17-inch collector's dolls from the Tonner Doll Company. Devall has a whole assortment of the DC Stars line, characters like Superman, Batman, your big DC Comics.
We don't want to ruin it. Let them.
Okay, all right. We won't give away the whole segment, but check it out.
No, that's cool, Scotty Cash and Dirt. You know what? You can call them dolls all they want, but the Tonner Doll Company doesn't actually call them dolls. They're actually called character figures. The DC Stars line, which has been available since the fall of 2006, has allowed Tonner to release a number of popular characters in different forms, including characters such as Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and many others. As a matter of fact, 23 characters to date have been released by the Tonner Doll Company in their DC Stars character figure line. And that number doesn't even begin to cover the exclusives from all the summer and winter comic book conventions over the last couple of years. But enough about that. Let's take a look at the packaging. Packaging for the DC Stars line is pretty simple. You get one of these boxes with the DC Stars logo on the bottom of it. Depending on the character, the boxes are actually different sizes. They range from this size, which is for the women, to a little bit larger size for the men, to the really large size for Batman and Superman. And of course, once opened up, you find your collector piece, very nicely wrapped. Now, of course, these have all been taken out, taken pictures of, put together, but normally you'd find a couple baggies of accessories stapled to the insides, depending on the character, as well as the display stand underneath, the characters with the hairnets on them to protect the hairstyles, and of course the costumes. Very nice packaging from Tonner for these collector pieces, and well, as they should be. Moving on from the packaging, there's been a number of comic convention exclusives over the last couple of years, including the Joker, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn dressed in Arkham Asylum jumpsuits, a Phantom Zone Supergirl from last year's San Diego Comic-Con, and an exclusive Harley Quinn that came with a exclusive gun and mallet. And of course, they've also had their limited editions, including this little guy, which was available for only a very limited time, and this is actually Crypto the Super Pup. And of course, he comes with his little collar and Superman cape, and he's cast in ceramic. He's a very cool little accessory that you can add to your Superman character figure. These were available on TonnerDirect.com for a very, very limited time. You hunt around, you could probably still find one of these, probably on eBay or through another retailer. But these are a very, very cool little collector exclusive, and he's kind of cute. Moving on, as you can tell from the size differences, that the male figures actually are taller than the female figures, as evidenced here by Superman and Supergirl. Another amazing thing the Tonner Doll Company does is they pay close attention to detail, as evidenced here by Superman's costume. The fact that he is completely decked out in a very, very traditional comic-inspired costume. And this isn't just Superman, it's for every DC Stars character. They are all decked out in their authentic costumes, from the comic books. Now, the character figures themselves actually have quite a bit of articulation. You've got some wrist articulation, bend to the shoulder and the elbow. The head is actually on a ball joint, so it moves around pretty well. Depending on the character, depending on if it's an older character or one of the newer ones like Aquaman, there's actually some waist articulation, which is really nice. And then, of course, the leg and foot articulation. So you've got bending at the knee, you've got bending, basically moving up back and forth at the hip and bending at the foot. So there's quite a bit of articulation in these, which really gives you a little bit of posing opportunities here and there, depending on the character and depending on what you want to do. Mostly mine stand like this. Kind of sad, really. One of my personal favorite things about the Tonner Doll Company releases, and especially in the DC Stars line, is the fact that all of their characters feature hand-painted faces, and the fact that these hand-painted faces really, really make these pieces spring out at you. And all of these character figures actually feature rooted saran hair instead of molded hair, which actually is a huge, huge plus. And to be honest, I think one of my favorite face sculpts of these character figures has to be the Joker, and the fact that they designed him in such a way that it reminds you very much of old Bob Kane artwork. Now, each Tonner character figure always comes with a display stand. And depending on the character figure, you get different display stands. My not-so-favorite is the display stand here, which sits around the character's waist and holds the character in place. I don't like those much. Now, each character figure has a different stand depending on the needs of the character, and my favorite is one of the ones that came with Black Canary, which sits basically right on their crotch and allows the character a much better position to stand on and gives you a little bit more posing options. So that's probably the coolest stand, and kind of wish that Tonner did every character figure with stands like these or offered these for sale, because these are great. But you can actually go to doll supply companies or craft stores and actually buy stands kind of like this that work just as well. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. Tonner has also released a number of exclusives to their TonnerDirect.com website, which is their e-commerce site. And those exclusives are 5 amazing superhero women dressed in amazing gowns, such as Diana of Themyscira, Kara of Krypton, Mira, Queen of Atlantis, Sealed with a Kiss, a.k.a. Poison Ivy, and the Blonde Bombshell, a.k.a. Black Canary. Now, Tonner is no different than any other company when it comes to retailer exclusives, and they've released their fair share, including this one, which was available through FAO Schwartz, which is this monstrous Bruce Wayne Batman gift set. Now, of course, you get the character figure, which is the same figure as the Batman figure, but instead of coming with the Batman clothes, he also comes with the Bruce Wayne tuxedo, which you can take off and dress him as Batman. I think it's much cooler just to leave in the box, which is where mine's at. I don't think this thing's ever coming out, because let's face it, I got a Batman and Bruce Wayne's just kind of chilling behind glass, so, you know, whatever works. Well, guys, that wraps it up for my look at the Tonner DC Stars character figure line. And now there's so much more to show. They've got so much more coming out. There's a Green Lantern coming out. There's a Hawk Girl coming out. There's so many new figures coming out for this line. So we will come back and take another look at this line. Plus, there's other things that I would love to show you from this line that we'll cover next time. So until next time, guys, take it easy.
All right, well, that wraps up this episode of That New Toy Smell. I hope you enjoyed it. Like we said, congratulations to Pixel Dan. He got married this month, a couple weeks ago. And congratulations to him and his beautiful bride. Of course, don't forget, keep checking out our website, thatnewtoysmell.com. You can come to our forum at the Video Game Losers, VGLosers.com. Our Toy Smell forum is there.
Yes, we definitely want to hear from you.
And we do have the phone number available. You can call, leave us a voicemail anytime, day or night. We also have the email address. You can send us an email anytime, day or night. So thanks for checking this out. Hope to see you again next month here on, what's the show?
That New Toy Smell.
Yes. Tell me.
That New Toy Smell.
All right.
Dr. Redfish.
Dirt, call me.
Okay, if you've made it this far and you've sat through all the credits and everything at the end, I've got a bonus for you. I talked about how we did stuff together before that new toy smell, and here's one of the videos I've uncovered. This is Pixel Dan Devall wandering around Wizard World Chicago. I think this is in 2008. This would have been a couple months before that new toy smell began, trying to get interviews from people in costumes for VGLosers.com, which was the main website we had at the time. This is before Pop Culture Network, before that new toysmell.com, before any of that stuff was actually established. VGLosers.com was the main site, and this was the video they made for that. So enjoy. This is your special bonus footage.
Recording. What's going on, VG Losers? Mandalorian 30 coming to you live from Wizard World Chicago.
Ooh, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me.
Devall is on the camcorder.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk around and I'm going to try to get some exclusive interviews with some of the wonderful celebrities here at Wizard World, exclusively for VGLosers.com.
Awesome.
So let's go. Let's go ahead and take a look right now and see what we can get.
Yeah.
What's going on, VG Losers? This is Mandalorian 30 coming to you live from Wizard World. I'm standing here with Apocalypse. Whoa, man. I just want an interview. Why can't I just have an interview? Turn the camera off.
Okay, oh God.
Hey, VG Losers, it's Mandalorian 30 coming to you live from Wizard World, and I'm standing here with Aura Singh. Can I get an interview with you? Just a quick question.
Dude, what's wrong with you, man? Alrighty, Mandalorian, go ahead.
VG Losers, Mandalorian 30 coming to you live from Wizard World. What do you get? I just want an interview. Just an interview. No? Just want to ask you like 5 questions.
Alright, go ahead.
Mandalorian 30 coming to you live from Wizard World, and I'm standing here with Parappa the Rapper. Can I just have an interview?
You're out of luck, dude. Wait, come on, man. Before security, okay.
Welcome, VG Losers. Mandalorian 30 here coming live from Wizard World, standing here with Link and Zelda. It's my favorite video game. Guys, can I get an interview? I'm so excited. No thanks. Are you serious? Like, I just want to ask you if you... I love your game. Zelda, will you marry me?
Dude.
Okay. Mandalorian 30 here. I'm going to try to interview Darth Vader this time. Vader, can I ask you a few questions? No, seriously.
Okay, oh God. Okay.
Guys, I'm sorry. I promised you interviews and I failed to deliver. Nobody wanted to talk to me. I really like Zelda. She wouldn't even. I'm sorry. Next time I'll do better, okay? I promise. Exclusive interviews, and maybe Zelda will talk to me. I love you, Zelda.